I recall that just recently the Vice President made his now famous remark about the return of troops from Vietnam, and the President of the United States, Mr. Humphrey's party, found it necessary to slap his wrists and say that wasn't so. Additionally, I find that Mr. Humphrey is giving the indications of being a frantic candidate at an early date. These things to some extent are inevitable, I suppose, but now in September it bodes poorly for the American people that one of our candidates, Vice President Humphrey, has become so tense and excited, so personal, and I'm afraid so demagogic so early.
Do you think Mr. Nixon is a winner in November?
Yes, sir. I think Mr. Nixon and Governor Agnew are clearly ahead and gaining, and I think the prospects now are for a substantial victory by a majority of the popular vote and a clear majority of the electoral vote in November. I'm convinced that the real key issue in this campaign is whether or not we continue under a Democratic administration, which has become the guardian of the status quo, or whether we have the courage and the judgment and the energy and the bravery to try those new programs and those new ideas that aren't the same old tired theories of the 30s, but rather are programs and proposals that have relevancy to the 60s and 70s.
Number one, the need to ensure that the City Council of the city is as broad and representative of all of the people of the city as possible. And number two, the need to strengthen the ability of the city first to act in response to the expressed wishes of its citizens, and second, to act to deal with the enormous problems that now confront the city. In proposing some amendments to the city charter, which was basically established in 1907, and then changed to the council manager form in 1931 with some intervening modifications, the council was keeping these two matters uppermost in its mind. Although the fundamentals of good government, which provide this city with a governmental system superior to that of any other major city, in our opinion, have been and must be maintained at all times, the ability to meet the challenge of this new day, which demands that the city perform new and additional services for its citizens, must be possible. The analysis of the functioning of some of our departments by professional consultants such as the IACP has indicated to us that some changes needed to be made in the departmental system. Others have been recommended by civic committees and by civic groups that have worked so hard on the problems of the city. In order for the City Council to make these changes that efficiency and good judgment dictate, it was necessary to make a few minor revisions and to provide that the Council could in the future create new departments where needed, new divisions of departments where the needs dictated that, and restructure the functions where efficiency demanded it.
Beforehand, Nolan Estes had referred to his speech this morning as his State of the Union message. He chose the annual convocation of teachers to deliver it, and the speech was aimed to and for teachers. Before he actually got into the text of his address, the 38-year-old Dallas school superintendent almost brought down the house. He announced to the some 7,000 captive teachers that from now on, if and when such convocations would be held, attendance by them would be strictly voluntary. After the rousing applause died down, Estes went into an elaboration of what he called a blueprint of 5 concerns that ought to have top priority in our thinking. And after his speech, we talked to Dr. Estes about his thoughts.
The first was curriculum mastery. I'm convinced that if we're going to make a democracy work in this country, our schools are going to have to turn the floodlight on all of our children rather than the spotlight on just a few. Secondly, if we're going to equip our kids to cope with a rapidly changing society, then we're going to have to remove the isolation of the schools from the community.
Of his speech, Dr. Estes had said if he were remembered for anything, he would like to be remembered with the thought that Nolan Estes made it possible for teachers to teach. Shield Salon reporting.
Coach, it's been a while since you've had the advantage of playing the Lions. Could you give us an analysis of what you've seen on the film?
Well, actually, Vern, we've seen a very excellent defensive team. This is a thing that's impressed us more than anything. They've allowed their opponents the last 3 weeks 7 points, 16 and 9. This doesn't do much for your offensive team and their hopes to score. But they are a fine defensive team, and this is what Detroit's pride has been built on, is their defense. We also see some outstanding young people. They've had excellent drafts the last couple of years. The two players that we'll be most concerned with is Mel Farr, their fine running back, and Earl McCullough, their Olympic track man, who looks a lot like Bob Hayes.
I feel that my uncle he's got, first of all, this genuine concern for people, and I mean all people. And I think that his humility, and I will say this, puts him in a position where people can identify with him. And as far as the youth are concerned, I think that, first of all, they should realize that he has been working for them since his career started, whether it was human rights, civil rights, whether it dealt with education, whether it dealt with jobs, and I can go right down the list. And I think he realizes, number one, that what's going on in our country today is something which can't be ignored, and he's very concerned about it. And I think he's going to display his concern in tangible goals for the youth.
Children spend only 6 hours a day, 5 days a week in our schools. The other 12 hours is spent outside the school. Unless we can get that some way to reinforce what we're doing in the school, then the best teacher and the best staff, of course, cannot be successful. The third point I tried to emphasize this morning related to staff development. I'm convinced that one of the top priorities we have is to make our schools institutions for teachers and administrators as well as for children. And then fourth, I tried to say that we've got to do something about the neglected majority. We've got to do something in our schools for the 80% of our children who do not go on to get a college degree. And then fifth, what I was saying is that we've got to work together. That is, we've got to bring our teachers into full professional partnership. We've got to involve them in the decision-making processes.
In the closing